Welcome to B.A.Showoff, the Dance Lifestyle Podcast. I'm Becky.
And I'm Alexandra. And whether you're a dance coach, dance parent, or a dancer yourself, this is the show for you. Today, we're going to be sitting and talking with our Varsity Spirit representatives.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Thanks for being here with us. So can you introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about each of you?
Yes. So my name is Stacy Shelton, and currently I sit as the Varsity Dance Director. And what that is high-level overseeing all of our scholastic brands. So UDA, NDA, USA, and UCE. So I get to work with our curriculum directors, our staffing directors, and work all the different products that we put on for camps, competitions, training, and education. But just a little bit about me personally growing up in the dance world. I grew up in studio like a lot of people, did the convention route, and then all of a sudden I got to high school and I was like, what's dance team? So it was really fun to explore both and be a part of both worlds. And then went to college, danced on a collegiate dance team, and then really fell in love with UDA and what we do. So then I was an instructor, and then it just kind of fell into where we are today. So I've been with the company now for over 15, 16 years now.
Wow.
Yeah. So excited to be here.
Well, we're excited to have you.
Amazing. And my name is Taylor Shoup. I'm currently our Varsity Spirit social media and content associate manager. So I work in our office full-time in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm originally from Minnesota, so I only moved to Memphis a little over 2 years ago now, which is kind of crazy. It's already been that long. But originally from Minnesota, where I grew up studio training, kind of similar to Stacy, of having that background immediately. And once college came around, I first went to the University of Kentucky, where I got to dance for both hip-hop and pom at D1A, and then also got to do the U.S. national team, which was where I first got to meet Stacy.
Yeah.
That was the first year that she was director of dance for USA Cheer, so that was our first introduction. And after that, I got involved with UDA staff, auditioned, and started working camps that summer. That was the same summer that I transferred back home to Minnesota and went to the University of St. Thomas. Finished out school dancing there and coached there for a few years after graduating, which was an awesome experience. Loved that whole time frame. And like I said, that's kind of what brought me then into UDA and got further into the Varsity Spirit family by joining our marketing team full time. But have loved all the involvement with UDA, from helping out at staff trainings and helping out with curriculum and choreography. So it's been such a great introduction to the dance team world, and just seeing all the opportunity that there was following has been really cool. And just love everything about dance. Love getting to work with teams and feel super lucky.
Well, I mean, we watched UDA grow, so I mean, she watches and she was a baby, but being in the competition world for so many years for me, I've seen how the company has really grown and it's changed. And I think that a lot of coaches and a lot of dancers have a lot of questions about the path of what's going on with UDA and what's going to happen. So can we talk a little bit about that? Like all the changes that have happened. I've talked before on the podcast how when I started there was just small and large, and then well, actually when I started it was just one. It was just varsity, and then it was small large, and then it was small medium large. And I think with every change, everybody stresses out. Like everybody's like, oh my god. I've even talked about the time that the music changed from being 2 minutes and 15 seconds to just 2 minutes.
That's a iconic chorus.
Yeah.
Thank you for 2 minutes.
Yeah, now I look back and yes, but when that happened, no, it was stress because I didn't read the rules. But
did you have a 2-minute 15 routine?
I had a 2-minute 13 routine.
Yes.
Oh my God.
She was outside that grace window.
Yeah.
Just stop the music.
Yeah, I just stopped the music. Yeah, I was.
She was like, just wherever it stopped.
Ending pose.
And they stopped. They stopped. So
that's kind of iconic.
It is. But it did teach me to read rules after that. Like after that, I was like every year.
It was a lesson learned for sure.
And to read, I mean, you guys make it so easy. You put it in red so we know what the changes are. You would think that I wouldn't have missed it, but I did. So so let's talk a little bit about the changes going on now. With the D1, D2, and now with the 2 weekends, and what that's going to be like. Because I think a lot of people really want to know about that.
Yeah. It's the hot topic.
Yeah.
But and I will. Let me start by saying that when this was approached, we probably had a lot of the same feelings that a lot of coaches had. So we can totally empathize, and we were there. We were like, what are we doing? Like, what? Like, let's talk about this. But over I would say 2 years, we have been meeting for this every single week. we're able to step back and like see what a really awesome opportunity this is, because this is unlike anything that is being offered right now at the high school level. Whether you're going to come and compete, and yes, there's cheerleaders around, and the D1, D2 weekend, it's really like a format like UCA and UDA college, and that is one of the most supreme, prestigious events that is out there for dancers and dance teams. I mean, you guys have seen the growth. You probably come in and, I mean, you watch live, but just seeing the magnitude of that event and what that is like, and the camaraderie and the respect of the different avenues, whether you're cheer or dance. I mean, this is legendary. We've never done this at the high school level. It's going to be super amazing opportunity, more exposure for schools if you want to come together and compete. But also, again, just that we're always about offering opportunities, and you know, that's where, like, it was just varsity, you were just talking about that, and then it was small and large, and then small, medium, large, and then you know, intermediate's been introduced, and we're always going to be about offering opportunities for student athletes and elevating that student experience. And we're super excited about this. And I can't wait to dive in more about all the intel and all the ins and outs, but it's really cool that you could be a part of the first ever National School Spirit Championship.
Yeah. I think that one of the bigger worries for the dance team world is that cheer is going to take over. Yeah. Because cheer is huge. I mean, I cheered when I was in high school. I was a cheerleader. I went to competition. I coached cheerleading. I know how intense cheerleading is. And I feel like the dance world is like, you know, it's always a little bit behind cheer because cheer's been around much longer and the dance team world hasn't been around. So as coaches, that's the worry, I think, that, you know, they're going to get pushed back and cheer is going to keep growing and dance is going to kind of fall back. And so, you know, what is it that, you know, you tell the coaches when they tell you this is their worry?
Yeah. I do think UDA College Nationals has been a good example of, you know, dance not falling to the background compared to cheer. In the past couple years especially, I mean, the growth of just viral moments and interest in dance has been really cool to see that. Obviously both have their own platforms, but the space that UDA has found in, you know, social media, but also even just like local national news, you know, Good Morning America featuring University of Minnesota's Turnset a couple years ago, like there's definitely an interest there, and I think that'll help keep dance a little bit more at the forefront. And even more, something that's been awesome over the past couple years of planning is the team that we have, which people might not really know this too much, but within our main Disney partnership, our two really main representatives, we have Catherine Morris and we have Melanie Berry. Melanie Berry was one of the first UDA staff. When she started, it was still UDC, Universal Dance Company. So she was one of those early staff members. Today, she's one of our varsity legends, which is what we call our Hall of Fame members. But they're, you know, managing that partnership with Disney and helping to facilitate any of our championships that we have at Disney. So having, you know, that presence of people who really have dance at the forefront. Catherine Morris was our brand director for UDA for a long time as well. So they see it from the perspective of cheer and dance, of course, finding that balance, but they're always there fighting for dance has been really cool. And just seeing, you know, that what they're asking for or looking for is into account. So I think we'll see that there'll be, you know, growth throughout the years, and there are two people for sure that are always going back and thinking about ways they can continue to make the championships better. That was something I noticed last year. We were at NDTC, and Catherine showed me this long list of things that she already wanted to make better from college. And I was like, that was 2 weeks ago. Like, I haven't even, you know, we're moving on. We're going into the full competition season. But to see that they have that, you know, growth mindset and they're always looking to better things, and again, they have dance at the forefront has been really cool.
And so with that, I do also want to say that being super transparent to any coaches out there and athletes listening, will it be different? Yes. But will that magic and the prestige of that championship of NDTC still be there? Absolutely. And what I mean by that is there's going to be things that we navigate differently, whether it's crowds, cheerleaders, not just dancers, and that sort of thing, open practice area. But like, we have plans in place and we can talk about that. But anyways, I just wanted to say, like, be transparent that, things are going to be a little different in how we navigate those traditions that you might be used to. And even us, like our little internal team and traditions that we have. And, but yeah, all that to say that I do think it's going to be incredible. Because another thing is, like, if coaches, and we've heard it, oh, well, we don't have a cheer team, or our cheer team is not coming this year. They go every other year, or whatever that, and vice versa with dance. People, again, come to college without their counterpart, and they still have an incredible experience. And I see the mutual respect from the disciplines at the college level, and it's super, super cool to see. And anyone that has been at college nationals has seen that firsthand, and so hopefully that also happens at the high school level too.
Well, and I think that people also understand, like, the benefits of it in terms of you bring around the school spirit, and it does heighten the school spirit, and it emphasizes school involvement, which I think is a big thing of what varsity is trying to do.
Totally.
I think that there are certain things that maybe coaches get more are more heartbroken about, and, like, even things like for us, like, we don't get to see our each other's teams, you know, and it was a lot of camaraderie between other teams, sportsmanship between, you know, a team that I'm not actively involved in, that I don't coach or I'm not around, but, you know, we have like a family within.
It was your community of dance, not necessarily Coral Reef High School.
Right. Not Coral Reef, not Lourdes, not, you know, whatever teams, now it's kind of becoming a lot more about the schools versus about, you know, each of us cheering each other on. So I think there's benefits to both, and I think that there's good and bad in it.
Agreed.
But I think that's probably some of the things that some coaches may be a little bit more heartbroken about.
And I think that they worry also because you see, like, at college nationals how intense that is. Like, you know, there's nowhere to sit, you know, there's
it gets definitely
packed.
this past year.
We will.
We
gotta touch
that. We'd love to hear
We
that.
have the tea, everybody.
We'd love to hear it.
But I think that that's a worry that, you know, again, because cheerleading is so big that when it comes time to, okay, now, you know, my kid's going to dance, are the cheerleading parents going to take over because there's so many more of them? Are they going to be taking over the seating? Is there going to be, you know, are the cheerleaders going to take over the castle, and then, you know, the dancers get pushed back? I think those are their
great
concerns.
Question, and valid. I would also feel that way as an athlete, varsity athlete. You want to be in front of the castle. Everyone talks about it. It's something you look forward to. Even our middle school teams are like, we can't wait to get to the field house. So cute. But great news. All the varsity divisions that are on ESPN, we film them, and they will always remain in front of the castle or wherever our TV production is. And of course, right now that's the castle. But who knows what's coming? I don't know. But all that to say, that is staying. And to your point about the crowds and the seating, we have ways to manage that. And also our block schedule, you know, while times aren't listed right now on that block schedule because we're still waiting on registration to open, what I will say is, like, the blocks, we learned our lesson at college for Sunday finals and alternating cheer and dance. We're not doing that, everybody.
We love to hear that.
Yes. So
people were paying people to leave.
We'll talk about that later. But so you'll see in the block schedule, majority of the days dance starts in a majority of the venues. So cheer won't even be getting there until probably there's going to be like a middle layer of, like, when you guys might be wrapping up, one more division left, and then you're probably going to head out. Unless you're going to stay and cheer on or root for another team. So, and then same thing with them, like, they'll be coming in on your back half of performances, depending on what venue you're in. So it will sort of feel like college. Like, when dance is in the field house, dance is going on. Dance logos are everywhere. You know, UDA, all the things. And then when cheer, it'll all switch out. Okay. So hopefully that will help ease minds. But I know the biggest thing is the outdoor crowds. So one thing I want to touch on that Melanie and Catherine and the focus group have been working on, and we did have a focus group of coaches, both cheer, dance, and band, and then we also have a core group of team internal. One thing, our wish list was obviously the practice space. Like, people utilize those areas. One thing to note that cheerleaders aren't able to do is actually stunt on concrete. So usually, you know, in the baseball corridor where people are running their music, having, you know, mental blocks and doing their little run-throughs like dancers do, cheer necessarily can't really do anything. They may also be doing mental run-throughs, but as far as stunting and those sorts of things, they'll all need to be on approved surfaces. So that hopefully will ease your mind too, with them being probably on the football fields more. But new this year, there's going to be an additional field where there's going to be a dance side and a cheer side. We're going to also corner off like the length of a Marley floor, so you'll know like where the proximity that is on a football field. And so you could have hundreds of dancers out there on that massive football field, and then there's going to be a cheer designated one. They cannot cross over. So that will be helpful, but like there's thought processes going into all of these things for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I know everything is trial and error. So, you know, there were moments this year where, you know, we had our jazz run through in the back and a band was doing their practice, and nobody in the little arena could hear anything because the band is full blast.
Also learned our lesson.
So that, you know, those are like little things.
For like your open practice time?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
we got you.
No, and it wasn't open practice. It was actually right before competition. Like,
was it?
It was like two. Like it was when we were doing open practice and when it was like right before you jump on that stage. And
open practice I could deal with a little bit more because it's like whatever, you're back there. It's, you know, but right before you're gonna go compete.
Yeah, kind of got in your
And
ideally, we don't have to do either. Ideally, we wouldn't have to deal with it either way.
But
I got it. Yeah.
Again, those are another like, you know, moments that we worry about because that's an added stress. I mean, it's such a stressful weekend already that you know, not being mentally prepared right before you're gonna go up on stage,
and then you're like, all the tubas and
and then they're clueless because, you know, they have a whole different mind frame and they're like as loud as can be because that's what they have to be doing.
Absolutely.
So it, you know, that was like a little bit of an issue, I think, but hopefully we're not going to cross
we're going to study that schedule, let me tell you.
Making sure that doesn't get in the way.
The other thing that I don't know if you guys already done it, but I had a lot of issues this year, and I know some other coaches did too, of all my dances being back to back. Like there was no time in between. Like we almost missed our game day awards because we were...
You called me.
Yeah.
I was like,
okay. Because I was on the other side and it was a little stressful. But, you know, like they literally got off the stage from dancing and ran to, you know, they were waiting for us to get awards. So, you know, like kind of like... I know building the schedule is super hard because I've done it before and I know what that's like. Yeah. But, you know, even if you're going to be using cheerleading, this is a great time to use cheerleading. Okay, so put them in between, so that, you know, the groups have an opportunity because game day has grown so much. That I think game days and everybody, you know, is doing game day now. Like, so it doesn't matter where you put them.
That's a great point. And just. When we do release the schedule, I feel like sometimes coaches might feel hesitant to reach out and say, hey, I see this. Do you see it?
Yeah.
Absolutely reach out. I don't want coaches to feel like, oh, they probably did it and it was on purpose. Chances are,
no.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of teams and it's a lot of people
to we don't have time to do that. We always try to catch like, okay, this team's going first in this division because, you know, how it's all built. But like we always try to make sure that a team's not going first in the division and in multiple cases. And we sometimes miss that on the first feel free to, we want to hear from you. Because those things aren't done on purpose. I promise. Yeah.
That takes us to the reverse order. You're going to do that again.
Oh, yeah. That's good. Well,
so we actually are. And so your first round is obviously done random. It's usually based off, so let's say, small pom. Small pom from last year finals for D1. They'll take all those finalists, split them up into their preliminary categories. So if it was first, second, third, fourth, those are your 4 preliminary groups. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
And then it just keeps going down. Then from there, your semifinalists are randomly dropped in from the prior year. And then from there, all the people that just came and competed once in the preliminary are dropped in randomly. And then the one thing we also look at is just regional. Like there's, I don't know, I think 38 Louisiana teams that came last year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right.
And then I feel like Omaha, Nebraska, they have a really good presence. Florida. So we're trying also to look at it regional too. Just making sure that is spread out. But then yes, random on the first time. Second, reverse rank, and then finals reverse rank.
Okay.
And I do want to be, I do want to point out that college and high school are different. Mm-hmm. So I do know sometimes that everyone looks at college and it's like we do everything that college does, but that isn't the case sometimes. So anyways.
College does do reverse ranking as well, right?
So this year they're doing random, reverse rank.
Okay.
So
for all the categories.
Whenever there's 3 rounds.
Really, it's just jazz.
Yeah.
So Open, D1, and D1A all have 3 rounds in jazz this year. Yeah.
Okay. And I know that we've talked to a few coaches about this, but is there ever plans of splitting jazz and contemporary category? Like making
That's a great
contemporary
question.
category?
Yeah. That's a good question.
We can poll the friends. That's interesting.
Because I love
especially that.
because I do notice that there is. I think the math behind a lot of these division changes are also to make some of the categories smaller and, kind of like...
More manageable.
Yeah, more manageable. So, if in the case that the jazz category, it's impossible to still split, I feel like an answer like that is kind of...
at the high school level? Or any level?
At any level.
Yeah. I don't feel like I hear a ton of conversation of it.
About it, yeah.
But I think, nothing's off the table.
Anything's possible at this point.
Everything evolves. I can tell you that.
Yeah. I do love getting to see, though, when people can bring their strength forward. Like, I know sometimes that creates that apples and oranges scenario where you're judging 2 routines that don't seem like they're the exact same style, but there's still a little bit of that, like, true strength that you're pulling forward from your team. So in some ways, I do enjoy that people bring their own framework, and we see it in other categories as well. Obviously, it's a little bit more constructed when a routine is palms in hand, hip hop and everything. But obviously, you see it more in jazz. But I like to see that people bring their personality forward. So
and I think it also leaves room for like too many categories sometimes. I think once you
so true. Like studio, which I loved it, but I'm in 9 open routines.
Right.
Yeah. No.
I'm like,
and it keeps you like focused on like who's the best of the best.
Large, all that.
Yeah. It keeps you focused on like who's the best of the best for real. You know, like and
I know when we first split into D1 and D2, the uproar that obviously when we did that. A change, like you said, Becky, at the beginning. It sometimes comes with, oh no, what are we doing? And I will say, a lot of response to that was, why did you get rid of medium? Mm-hmm. And the reason is if we did, some of these divisions would have had 5 people in them.
Yeah.
And like that national championship, prestigious, that we all want to keep, and that is going to happen. That is why that happened. Mm-hmm. But that's not to say that medium can't come back. Right. And I could see that happen at the D1 level before the D2 level, and that's okay now because they're separate weekends, and you're the D1 event and you're the D2 event. And just like our division changes for small and large are different between D1 and D2 now, that was done that way because D2 schools are already a smaller enrollment, and the data showed last year that the average small D2 team in finals was like 9.8 or 10 people on the floor. So that made sense for us to lower that and help create that competitive balance in that division. But we didn't need to do that in small, large D2.
Yeah.
Or D1, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Do they plan to keep the weekends the same consistently? So like D2 before D1, or do they plan to alternate?
I do think so, just because the way Disney, our contracts and the housing that they're able to give us and that sort of thing.
So they don't plan to alternate them?
No, because consistency.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
You know, our dance coaches.
Yeah.
They love consistency.
I like knowing exactly when my meeting.
I stress out when it's like 1 year it's at the end of January and 1 year we're
it's
February.
like February.
I'm like,
Yeah. Like however New Year's Eve falls within it.
Yes.
It's like
True.
how many practices do you get before
Yes,
that?
yes. It's a stress. And then now we're back to Super Bowl weekend, which I'm like, oh.
You are. I'm back.
I love all the dads outside watching on the big screen.
Wait,
like it's
so
awesome.
Someone told me that the Super Bowl was changing after this year.
I had no idea.
Like they're pushing it back another week.
I don't know.
I mean,
anyways, it's because of dance.
Yeah. They saw what was going on.
This is the Super Bowl.
Yes, this is the Super Bowl. They're like, okay, we can't compete with that Super Bowl.
The coverage.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
But it is a stress for, the parents.
So for sure, like we wouldn't do that. I do think there could be some school, like the enrollment, D1, D2 enrollment. That's, again, something that we're looking at all the time, collecting the data. You're submitting all these forms to show your enrollment for school, just like state classifications do this. They might adjust every 3 years. That could happen. I mean, we're looking at that every year. So not to say that D1 will always be 1,400 and up, and D2 will always be 1,399 and below. But
specifically,
to be specific. So anyways, all that to say, like, things will ebb and flow and adjust. Based on data, based on evolvement and all the things, competitive balance and that sort of stuff.
So how do you guys pick judges? Do they go through a training? Like the hip hop judges, are they well versed in hip hop, or are they like, oh, I'm a jazz teacher, but I also do hip hop once in a blue moon? do they focus on, I'm just doing hip hop, I'm just doing jazz? So how does the judging work?
Super glad you asked, because this is something that we have been wanting to put out, and we always are transparent with this, but like trying to describe it and come up with our graphics and so everybody understands. So this could be long-winded. We're going to get through it together.
Got it. We're here.
But we
have nothing but time.
Yeah, we have all the time in the world. One thing, absolutely, all of our judges are qualified. They go through training, and actually some of our judges say that our training is one of the most extensive ones, and sometimes they're like, I got to do it again, and I'm like, yes you do. Like, I've been judging for UDA for so long, you still have to do it. So we have a training on, and actually our training that they go through is online, besides the video component that they actually judge and send back, because we're not going to put videos up online, licensing, another big topic, music, all that. So they actually go through like an actual judging process, give comments and all of that. And we also have scoring managers at all of our regionals moving forward, and they're also giving feedback real time on judges, so that we can help them grow. But for nationals, they absolutely rank like based on their experience in the industry and what they're choreographing, what they're talented in, what they're good at, and what they want to judge and what they are good at. So they rank them, and then pretty much they stay on that path. Mm-hmm. Some people have no business and don't want to do game day. Mm-hmm. They don't want to do it, and they don't do it. And same thing with hip hop, and same thing with pom and jazz. So all that to say, they're chosen for a specific reason, genre, and they're kind of funneled in that way. This is the part that a lot of coaches have questions on, is like, do people move on to the next round and all of that? So I will say, think of it as a funnel, and my best visual aid is, say you have 4 preliminary groups. Mm-hmm. So, you see that sometimes. Small jazz, large jazz. You might have 3 to 4. Preliminary group A, B, C, and D. Preliminaries, they all have different judging panels. Moving into semifinals, group A and B funnel down, and group C and D funnel down. So just like the teams funnel in, our judges funnel in. So we will take half from preliminary group A, half from B. Those people will merge, and then they will judge group A and B semifinals. Same thing with C and D. We'll pull them, funnel them down. For finals, just think of it, keep coming down. Group A, B semifinals, we'll take some of those judges, funnel them down. Group C and D, funnel them down. And then for finals, because you read the rules.
Yeah.
Some other people don't.
She does. Now she does.
Yes. We always add 2 extra in for finals. So they'll have 8 judges in finals, not just 6. We always go back up to the top and grab 2 people, if they can, down into the final grouping. Mm-hmm. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
You could get fresh eyes. You could have the same eyes. But I think that's what it's comparative scoring. And one thing to know, especially at the high school level, I want to be clear that just because you auto-final and you happen to have that highest auto-final score does not mean you're in first.
Yeah.
A lot of coaches don't understand that, and athletes don't understand that. But with the comparative scoring, you were judged in a moment with that judging panel. They judged you accurately within those groupings. Mm-hmm. So you are first out of that group.
That group, yeah.
Right.
Because we see it often where there could be, not all the time, but sometimes an auto finalist goes on and then they drop severely. but they don't understand that now they have group B, C, and D that they're competing against.
Yeah.
So I wish there was more so hopefully this helps that for coaches to understand, and even athletes, because I know sometimes they get heartbroken being an auto finalist or even top 2 or 3, but they scored higher than B, C, and D, and they think we're in third.
Yeah.
And it's really not how
They're
that
really
is.
not.
Yeah.
Well, for many years, I wouldn't tell my kids where they landed.
Yeah.
I was,
you were
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
if you're
New
first,
day,
second,
new
10th.
panel.
We're moving on. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
I
So
love
for many
that.
years, I wouldn't even say it to them just because I understood that anything could happen in finals.
Yeah.
And really, you are being judged by different people. You're up against different teams.
Yeah.
And your performance is different every single time that you go up on that stage.
Yep.
So the first performance might be perfect, and then the next one somebody flops, and then it doesn't matter where you were. It doesn't make a difference.
Yeah. And it's hard to not compare the panels. When you're looking at your breakdown from prelims or from a semis groups, when there's different panels, you're like, oh, we have the highest of this, but you have to, ground yourself in that.
Yeah.
And I think we talk about opportunities and the exciting moments, magical moments that come from the championships. For a team who auto advances and, finds himself at a lower placement within finals than they anticipated, even having that moment of auto advancing is a huge accomplishment that they get to celebrate. And I love that it brings more wins to the weekend than just the one win.
The one
at the end,
overall.
Because in the
goal,
end, one team's going to have their ultimate goal. So
definitely.
I
give
love
more.
that.
Give
love
more
that.
moments.
And are there plans of transparency with judges? For example, knowing who exactly gave you what score, what that exact judge had to say about that exact routine.
Stacey Shelton judged.
Right, judged this team, and this was my score sheet. This is the score I gave you. This is what I had to say about it. So knowing exactly who judged me and knowing what that one judge had to say about me.
Yeah, we can always take that back and take that feedback and to the team and see if we want to or if we're able to, and they're there to adjudicate and they do a really, really great job. And I will also say that I do think a plus to the split weekends, and which I don't know if a lot of people have thought about, we're going from 95 judges to about half of that.
Yeah.
So the bandwidth for us to be able to make sure that we're in all the dance venues and working with those scoring managers and helping and making sure that they all feel good about the results that are happening, because sometimes turnover, you gotta go. What
or somebody feels sick and now you need to.
You gotta jump. Yeah.
Now you're stuck 10 hours judging.
Yes. Oh
God.
God.
Yeah.
That's a nightmare. I know. So we're hoping that also this way it's smaller group of people, smaller, 50-ish judges throughout the weekend just because of the magnitude. So all that to say, I do think there will be a little bit more bandwidth to let them make sure that they feel great about everything and, take it from there.
Again, back in the day, we used to get a
She's legendary, everybody. She's been around.
I love it.
Stone Age. We used to have a book. In the book had all the judges.
Oh, we did have a program.
Yes. And
I still have a
there
bunch of them
you
at my
had the
desk.
picture of the judge and their criteria where they
background.
what they did and how they what they've done in the dance team world and the dance world, whatever. But now there's nothing. There's nowhere knowing. Even if you don't tell me
what
what
online, but it's it's not there.
Yes.
Yeah. I feel that.
I feel like, we want to know who's judging us.
Sure.
Even if I don't know exactly who's giving me what score.
Yeah.
Because that's really not going to make or break me knowing this person gave me a 10, this one gave me a 4. But knowing this is my panel, these are the people who are judging that I
These are their
feel comfortable
credentials.
knowing their credentials.
Yeah, I love
So I think that's something that the coaches would love to have, and
Awesome.
looking up there and say, I know that one, I know who that is. I know that.
I do see a lot of coaches, they just whip that head around and they're
I do.
scanning.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is that a lot of us worry that are there people up there that are connected to some of the teams that they're judging?
Yeah.
And
That is one thing they write down is
Yes.
any connections that they have to a program so that any biases are.
because it's very hard. Dance world is very
Oh my God.
small.
It's
so
When you're very small.
interconnected. Yeah.
And we
There's-
actually put what we consider a conflict online. I wish I could have a screen and show everybody where it is and where it lives on the website.
Yeah.
But they follow that, and some people it's not even considered a conflict anymore, but they actually still write it down, and so we respect that, and yeah. So that's another thing is I can judge group A and B but my conflicts is in C and D, so I don't judge semis or finals anymore. You know, so that happens too. Just again because of the size of the event and how many judges you need. So that does happen too. But no, I can sit here and say that there is no direct bias on those. That sometimes people are switching around, like, this team made it to finals, I'm so proud of them, but I can't judge them anymore. Like, they made it.
Yeah.
So we're like, so that happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes people have to float in. But there's, you know, I want to be, like, very clear that all of them are capable and they are the best of the best. And I think, again, selecting 90 versus 50, that's also going to be in your favor as well.
Yeah.
And you don't drop the highest and lowest.
I was going to ask that question.
No, not right now.
Again, that
because
used
we
to
only
happen
have
before.
6.
Yeah.
Again, if we ever got to a place where it'd be like 8 in all rounds, like, I don't know, we could talk about that.
Yeah.
That is
I
hard.
love those questions.
Yeah, no, that's interesting.
We wish we could have that conversation with all coaches and just like explain that part of it, because we want to be realistic and we want you guys to feel like you're taken care of, and so I love that.
No, I mean, I don't think at any moment I ever feel like someone's out to get me.
Sure.
But, it's very easy as somebody up there, maybe, they're not judging the team
What you're
that
doing
they
on
were,
the floor,
Right.
But you're going against the team that I like, or, I like this one more, so I'm going to hurt you just so that this person,
And I think our score sheet, I truly do believe that our score sheets now, like, being split, like, you're getting credit for the movement and you're getting credit for the execution.
Yeah.
Right.
And before that, and sometimes I still see it at other event producers, like, they're just judging to get a final score. And they're not judging to get a caption, and we preach that.
Yeah.
Like
it should correlate.
It should correlate.
Yeah.
What you just saw on the floor. And so again, we were talking about that one judge again may see coral reef all 3 rounds, but then one judge may only have seen you in finals. But
They have different perspectives.
they're different perspectives,
Yeah.
and so it's like, by the caption, that is what you're judging with what they did on the floor in that moment.
Yeah, I think it's great, the judge, I guess, to see the progress, and they're looking and going, wow, that team, look how much better they did, and they're going to get scored higher, whereas another judge will come in and they only see that, and they're like, yeah, that wasn't that great.
But, well, when you think about it, there's only one spot, really, that they can let that sway them. Because, again, that comparative scoring, they started that division with ABC High School.
Yeah.
And then from there, you're like, okay, well, they did that better, they did that better, they did that not so great, and there's really only one part of the score sheet where you can truly give that feeling or,
Yeah.
I like that one better, and that's overall,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever considered doing voice judging?
we have.
I mean, it's just a lot easier for the judge to be like, oh, da, 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 and like saying, right there, you could have done this, or, the levels are really off there, for me, like, it's easier for them to speak than it is for them to type or write or anything.
I will say, with our current scoring system, I'm not so sure the capabilities there.
Yeah.
But if we were to ever try and do this, it could be just like an additional perk. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
they may not have a score tied to their actual voice notes.
Yeah.
But it comes up every year.
Yeah.
And like
Even if it's-
the logistics of it.
Even if
one,
there's
which
just
is very cool.
one judge that just talks.
Yeah.
That's
right.
all they do is just, give voice feedback, because it does help a lot when you're watching the routine and you're talking and you're saying things, because you forget, like, while you're watching and you're like, oh, I'm judging this, I'm judging that, but you forget, like, oh my gosh, that happened, that would have been so much better if you would have done this.
Sure.
Because you're so worried about other things.
And sometimes people can only type so fast.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so especially for especially for now that we're doing dance in one section, cheer in another, and like giving judges that time. Are you alternating judges per routine, or like how are they being given the amount of time that they actually have to score?
Like the panels rotating.
Yeah.
Oh, the panels
Does
rotating.
that question make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Do you want to answer this, or do you want me?
Well, I guess with the panels rotating, that provides time in between where, if there's ABC High School, we always use that phrase. I feel like at trainings or anything. ABC High School on the floor, that means XYZ High School that follows it. I'm not having to judge XYZ High School because they're not on my panel. So
And that could be
provides
prelim group A and prelim group B, excuse
Got
me.
it. Oh, yeah.
And so they're alternating. And there's, even if we're on a back-to-back panel, sometimes our kick divisions are on the back-to-back panel. We always set up again,
Time
this goes into the
between.
logistics of the schedule.
Yeah. Oh my God,
but
don't envy it at all.
you're on a 3-3 or a 3-4 or even a 4-5, and that's like language that our that our event coordinators and everybody uses, and so it's very specific. And game day, you have. I don't want to misspeak because there's different game day versions of times, but let's just say for a specific game day, you have 3 minutes total. Mm-hmm. Well, then I can't be on a 3 rotating because it's going to take you at least 3 minutes to do that routine. Yeah. So I'm going to be on a 4 or a 5.
Got it. Right.
So definitely that is taken into consideration.
Okay.
Speaking of game day, so game day, I love game day. But then again, I was a cheerleader, so I have cheerleading background. I coach cheerleading, then dance. So I have both. So I appreciate game day, and I don't think everybody sees game day the same way.
Perspective.
And it's to me the school spirit of it is just unmatched. But I think that we really don't understand what game day winner is supposed to be. Like, it's very clear with hip hop. Well, even with hip hop, not as clear, but jazz super clear, hip hop kind of clear. But game day, it's like, you do all these amazing things and it's like, didn't even get 10th place, So when you're doing game, what is it that Varsity is looking for in the game day routine?
Yeah, I think game day continues to shift every year. So I know as a choreographer, it always kind of feels like a moving target a little bit. You're like, okay, we're looking to do this. So any teams I work with for game day, I always encourage that you're looking to put a product forward that you feel like truly represents your school. And I aim to keep that as their main focus for the year. Obviously, yes, you're competing and you want to have that highest placement that you can. But in the end, if you can put out a routine that you love and you felt really confident toward,
high energy,
you're going to feel better on it. I think from a judge's point of view, we can kind of go a lot of different ways of they're looking for something that's crowd effective. I have a similar background with having cheer in my high school experience. Like that was, like I said, studio training all the way through, but once I got into middle school, high school, our high school didn't really have a dance program that made sense for a lot of us. So any of us studio dancers, we all joined cheer. So that was my original introduction to varsity, was competing at NHSCC, the high school championship, which I was thinking about it as we were coming here. I'm getting off topic, but I remember once watching, it was like my freshman year of high school, watching the ESPN show, and they had the dance, like it was the UDA show, and then the UCA show followed it, and so I caught the end of the UDA show, and it was Coral Reef. That's for the 2013. So I truly think that was like the first NDTC routine I got to see, because I remember having this moment where I was like, wait, what is that? I've been going down there for cheer, and there's a dance version, but Minnesota high school teams don't go down to Florida, so that was like the barrier I had with it. But yeah, that back to it, the real question, the crowd effectiveness, and having your involvement from the crowd, being able to be really clear to the audience of what you're looking for them to do, like sign work. I know that's a new
addition for
element,
high school,
that we have on the side for game day, but making sure that signs are really clear. I look at encouraging people to avoid surprise signs. I don't know if you use the same framework, but we should see it.
See it before you yell it.
Yeah, which kind of feels like a marketing standpoint to me. Like I always feel similarities when I'm working on a game day routine. I'm like, okay, this feels like we're marketing the brand of the team. So I encourage coaches that I work with to figure out what they think their brand is. Fayetteville High School is a school in Arkansas I got to work with this year, and their coach was amazing. She came out with like a whole list. She's like, this is our brand, this is what I want to feature, and it was really cool to get to work with her and be like, okay, we're creating a routine that showcases the school spirit aspect, but also like the message that the school and the team represents. So I think that made the experience with that team feel more well-rounded, that no matter what, and this was the first year I'd gotten to work with them, but I feel confident that they'll head into their competition season just feeling that they get to present themselves. And, they can shift things throughout the season to see where they can place to their best ability, but figuring out your brand for game day. Yeah. And I do love in game day that people show their personality. Like there's some schools that, like they pull forward a little bit more of that hip hop element, or they pull forward a little bit more traditional aspect. Like Louisiana, the Spinnakers, Mandeville, when they're like show routines. But I love it. It's so cool to get to see that. And then the next routine that goes on in that division is like completely different. And that's, can be probably hard to judge. I don't envy the judges at all.
I definitely would not want to judge game day because
it's tough.
I think it's very tough.
And it's a pride. Like you have so much pride, and I can't wait to get your take on it, because aren't you doing...
I'm doing with my cheer team this
year. So cool. I can't wait to get your take on it. But what have found is so many teams love practicing game day.
Yes.
Because it's like what comes natural to them from the dance team aspect. So, but like that genuine love for their school and community, and then putting it out on a stage. But that pride, I feel like I could say this, is that some of our scores in game day divisions are closer than any other. Because it's really not on like your difficulty. It's just on how well you're doing it. But you all do it so well.
Yeah.
So it's...
Anyway, and it's so fun. Like they love, like I could tell even from my kids, like it's something different from jazz and hip hop, and it's not something they can do at a studio.
Yeah,
It's something that they actually learn in school,
Love that.
and like this is for their school team, so it's very it's like very unique to dance team, and now that they get to do it with cheer too, like that's super exciting. I mean, I've never done a game day routine just us, but this was like a great bread and butter for us because it was an awesome way.
Like,
I mean, so fun.
Okay.
I mean, I love my cheer coach. My cheer coach is amazing.
Love that.
And her and I actually went to school together, but she was a year younger than me, and we both went to Lourdes.
Oh
So it was
my
really
gosh, I
exciting
love
to
that.
like bring all of that back, and both of us are alumni of the school.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we get to like have that whole collaboration side of it, bringing something back to the school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bringing a lot of like the love we have. for
Watch
it.
out, everybody.
Yeah, Lord's coming in hot. Alumni.
We hope you enjoyed part 1 of our 3-part series with Varsity Spirit.
And if you like what you heard, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube and follow us on Instagram. And if you have any questions or suggestions, make sure to click on the link tree in our bio and fill out our Google form.
We'll see you next week with part 2. Bye.